Right. You know why nothing has gotten done by the Black Lives Matter people? Why we're not seeing anything be accomplished is because America was already not the racist, horrible place that people said it was. In the 1960s, it was like 60% of black women were domestic servants. Now that number is down to 2.2%. In 1958, it was like 45% or so of white people said if a black person moved in next to them, they would move. Now that number's 1%. And in the 1960s, it was white people who said that 18% of them had a black friend. Now it's up to 86% of white people say that they have a black friend. Racism has been solved in America, okay? But these people who were around in the 1960s, who worked in the civil rights movement, a lot of times where those things were really needed, well, what are they going to do now? They still need a job. Someone like Al Sharpton, who's been working in this industry, this Racism Inc. industry for years and years, still needs a job. And so they have to create this outrage. This is what they did with George Floyd's death. This is what they did with Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. And Michael Brown and Ferguson. They created this fake outrage to continue to raise money, to have jobs, and to make the world be divided.
Yes, and what does it boil down to? It boils down to people like that would rather have power and influence than have peace. And it was something that we have accomplished here in the United States. We did dig ourselves out of the hole that was systemic racism, that was, the civil rights movement back in the 1960s. And we were in a state of equality, of equal opportunity for everybody in this country. As I say many, many times, and you've heard me say it on this stream probably millions of times, as a black female in the United States, it has never been a better time to be me. It will probably never be a better time to be me in the United States. And yet, we still hear the same rhetoric around white supremacy, systemic racism, and racist institutions within America. And it's simply not true.
It's funny that you say that because you're black. I mean, you said you have some Irish, but you're black.
Yes.
And it's like the people going to these marches and protesting against all this police violence and all of these things happening. It's like in LA, it was 90% of the people who were at the BLM protests were actually white people.
Right.
It's like so many of the actual black people in America stayed home or didn't go because they didn't want to. A lot of them, I feel like, don't really care. And if they wanted to actually fix the problems in the black community, don't you think that there would be more African Americans at these Black Lives Matter rallies or protesting? But there's not. It's like all these white people, white leftist virtue signaling, trying to make it seem like they really care about black people.
Right. And it's so funny because you'll see all these videos of reporters going out or political commentators going out and actually talking to the people within these communities, within Minneapolis, within Portland. And they talk to white people who happen to be on the left, and they tout the same buzzwords, the same rhetoric that you hear on the left every single day. Oh, we need to fight against the oppression of black people. We need to help them. We need to help them get into school. We need to help them get their voter ID. We need to stop them from being suppressed as voters in the United States. And then they go and talk in the same community to the black people there. And the black people will look at you like you're crazy, thinking that they can't get a voter ID, that they can't get into school, that they can't get a job, that they can't get a mortgage. It is simply virtue signaling by the white left because they have a savior complex and they feel as though what they're doing is helping a community that is less than they are.